Hello everyone, today we'll cover the case of Renee Welka. On the early morning hours of July 29, 1994, Renee and her friend were about to park her car near an apartment complex when an unknown male suspect approached their vehicle and shot through the back windshield of the driver's seat, hitting Renee in the back and fleeing the scene. Renee slammed her foot on the gas pedal and drove her car a short distance before she collapsed at the wheel. The car didn't make it out the parking lot. I make content about animal attacks, disappearances, murders, and paranormal incidents. If you like content like this, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe. If not, I want to improve the quality of these videos. I would appreciate it if you guys let me know down below what you thought. Did you like the video or did you not like the video? If so, why? What can I do better? It was the summer of 1994. And 22-year-old Renee Welka was looking forward to starting her senior year at Eastern Michigan University. The lively marketing major was a sorority sister and also worked part-time at a restaurant to pay her way through her studies. After the murder had occurred, Renee was taken to a nearby hospital, but succumbed to her injuries a few hours later. Meanwhile, there was a commotion in the parking lot as police raced the scene of the crime. Renee's passenger had been left unharmed, but understandably shaken up. As she was getting questioned, she looked into the crowd that had gathered nearby and thought she saw a familiar face. The friend pointed out a young black man and said she was sure he was the person who fired at them. That man was Clarence Powell II, also known as Pooh, an 18-year-old high school student who was about to go to college the next semester himself. Investigators quickly apprehended him even as he protested his innocence. He told them he had simply come outside to see what all the noise was about and had no role in the shooting. 2 days after the murder, there was a newspaper that was published. The headline was EMU Student Slain in a Possible Carjack Attempt. It was stated by Captain John Phillips that this could be a possible carjacking. Captain John said Welka was driving her white Ford Escort into the parking lot of the building when she was approached by a suspect and shot once. Much of the scene was still under an investigation. In that same newspaper entry, Clarence Powell's attorney stated that he was in the home eating grapes and watching television. This is a case of complete and reckless misidentification. I'm satisfied that this boy is innocent. Furthermore, there was many testimonies from his friends who said, and I quote, "He definitely wouldn't kill anyone. He wouldn't even fight anyone." Again, in the same newspaper, it also stated a former classmate said he was preparing to leave for Clark Atlanta University later this month. They said he had never been in trouble. Clarence Powell has no prior felony convictions. Police really needed to find out the reason behind why Clarence would have killed Renee if he actually did kill her. 2 weeks after the arrest that was made and the murder of Renee, all charges were dropped against Clarence Powell. The assistant prosecutor stated that the teen is still a primary suspect in the case, could be recharged if evidence warrants. On the 12th of August, a newspaper released with a title saying charges dropped against teen. It also stated it was a day of hope and of disillusion. Family and supporters of Clarence Pooh Powell II sat on one side of the courtroom Thursday, waiting and hoping for the words that their son would be free. Renee Welka's family and friends sat on the other side, wondering if this was the man who had killed the 22-year-old Eastern Michigan University student outside her Pittsfield Township apartment. Both families had prayed, many had questions, hundreds of others waited outside the courtroom. In the end, it would take less than 5 minutes for a teenager just out of high school to be allowed to walk out of jail, and a family to wonder if a murderer would be found. Clarence stated, "I'm just going to be with my family tonight. I'm happy this is over." Renee's brother, Jay Welka, made a statement as well. "Right now, our family will take each day one at a time." The very next day, Clarence D. Powell II released a statement to the news. The title of the statement was "No More Tears, No More Tears." First of all, I would like to thank God, my protector, and my friend. Without him, I know I would not be a free man today. For myself, my family, my friends, and my supporters, we all send our condolences to the Welka family. We know that you have had a great loss. I'm sure that the real killer will pay for this senseless act of violence. I would also like to say to the Welka family, just hang in there. Everything happens for a reason, and none of us are in a position to question God. Remember that if this person is never caught, he will eventually have to answer to God. I want to thank everyone who believed in me and supported me from the moment that they heard the news about my situation. You really find out who your friends are in times like these. Although I can't say any names, I love you all and thanks again. This goes out to the people who are inside the Washtenaw County Jail, my friends who came to court, and the people who sent their support from wherever they are. To my family, thanks for being there for me, especially Mom and Dad. You did everything you could and more to get me out of there. All I can say is, I love you and thanks. Good things come to those who are good to others. No more tears, no more tears. Clarence D. Powell II. The years ticked by and the murder case slowly went cold. In 1998, police admitted they had no leads, but they did say they were retaining Powell as the main suspect until evidence arose to suggest otherwise. However, we can definitely say there are things that are weird with this case. If Powell was the one to actually commit this murder, why wasn't there any gun residue on his hands? And if there were, why didn't the police let that known in court? Now, also, the question arises, why? Why would Clarence Powell want to kill this innocent girl in his parking lot right next to his home when he had bright futures ahead of him? He was going to go to college the very next semester. It doesn't make any sense, and looking at what his peers had said, it looked like he was an outstanding person and an outstanding citizen. The question also arises, what happened to the murder weapon? If Clarence Powell was arrested minutes, if not 10 to 20 minutes after the murder taking place, where did the murder weapon go? Where could he have hidden it if he was standing in the parking lot? And if he did do the murder, why was he standing in the parking lot right after? The only reasoning that they had to arrest him was because of an eyewitness testimony. Now, that is also an issue. Eyewitness testimony accounts aren't always accurate. They're still considered a powerful piece of evidence in criminal trial. I'm sure Renee's friend was traumatized by the attack. I'm not sure as to how trauma affects memory, but I'm sure there is some sort of effect. Now, if any of you guys are psychologists or work in that field, let me know down below. What are the facts? Clarence was said to be on his phone with one of his friends at the time. Could the service providers be able to check this? Could this be fact-checked in some way? I'm sure the police have tried this. Several years later, investigators appealed to the public for help cracking the case. Pittsfield's Township Detective Jason Honer said, "This girl deserves justice. We're hoping that somebody will do the right thing and help us out. Unfortunately, this has not happened yet, and the wait for answers proved too long for Renee's father, Tom. He passed in 2013 without ever learning the truth about what happened to his daughter. Her mother, Nancy, though, hopes one day to get a call telling her someone will pay for what they did. Nothing will bring her back, but I just want to know why. So many promises for her future, and for it to be snuffed out, how could somebody take another person's life?" she said. "My condolences go out to her family, and I hope that one day they get the answers that they deserve, and the person who is behind all of this gets his or her punishment." Once again, be careful, be safe, be aware.